Well, as we mentioned, the Biden administration has agreed to a prisoner swap with Iran. The U.S. will release 5 Iranians, and in return, Iran will release 5 detained Americans. One of those Americans, Murad Tabaz, is from Weston, Connecticut. Joining us tonight is Representative Jim Himes with more information about this deal. And Congressman, we appreciate you joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me, Beth.
Okay, first, what can you tell us about how this deal came about? What was the genesis of this?
Well, these deals aren't terribly unusual. They've been undertaken by a variety of different administrations. In the Trump administration, they did a swap for a PhD student who'd been held for a number of years. This is a bigger deal because it involves 5 Americans who will be leaving Evin prison, just a hellacious place in Tehran, to come home. And as you mentioned, one of those is my constituent and Weston, Connecticut resident, Murad Tabaz. He's been wrongfully detained under brutal conditions for 5 years. You know, he's an older man. He's turning actually 68 in 2 weeks, has been very, very ill. And so pretty soon he will, through Qatar, Doha, then on to Washington, be reunited with his family here in the United States, ultimately in Weston, Connecticut.
One of the sticking points here is the money. The swap is not just for prisoners. $6 billion in Iranian assets will be unfrozen as a part of this deal as well. I want to know if you agree with that idea. Republicans are calling it ransom. They say it'll prop up a major sponsor of terrorism.
Well, that's just not accurate. And look, these things are always hard, right? When you're negotiating with a regime as appalling as the Iranians, they're going to get something too. In this case, no, it's not ransom. It is money in an account that is theirs. It is their money. It's been held in South Korea. South Korea has funded that account because they bought Iranian oil under the rules that permitted them to do so. So the South Koreans at any point could have conveyed that money to Iran. And now under this deal, it's being conveyed, but with the restriction that it only be used, and we have the ability to monitor this through a bank that we trust in Qatar, only be used for either medicines, for food, or for agricultural products. So, you know, these things are always hard. You'd like to live in a world where you don't have to negotiate with people like the Iranians, but the bottom line is they'll get their money for use for humanitarian purposes, and we will see 5 Americans after years and years return to their families.
Okay, what is the time frame for this exchange?
Well, you know, we don't celebrate until it's over. The Iranians are unpredictable, but we are hoping that that these 5 individuals may fly out of Iran, you know, as early as this weekend. They'll spend a little bit of time being debriefed here in Washington, I believe, and then, you know, hopefully in the next week or so, maybe even sooner, they're reunited with their families who have been through so much hell over the course of the last 5 years.
And Congressman, as far as the Iranians that are being detained that we're releasing, can you tell us where they've been held?
Yeah, so there are 5 sanction violators, and that's an important part. Again, these things are hard. These aren't terrorists. These are people who have violated the sanctions against Iran. Several of them are actually American citizens or American green card holders, so they actually won't be returning to Iran. They will simply have their sentences commuted, or if they were on trial, those trials suspended. One of the individuals will return to Iran, but we anticipate the others will likely stay here and not return to Iran. And again, you know, it's legitimate to ask, are these bad people? Are they intelligence agents of the Iranian service? And the answer is no. They are simply people who have been held or jailed because of the violation of the Iran sanctions.
All right, Congressman Jim Himes, we appreciate you joining us today. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.